Laptops are off. Beers are poured. We're officially offline again. Welcome back, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So intros once again. We have Michael, Cynthia, RJ, and Anthony. Again, representing design, development, research, and I really don't know what do I do. I don't.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Disruptive innovation.
Disruptive. Oh, yeah, I want that title. Thank you very much. So I'm in charge of disruptive innovation.
This is table.
Disruptive part. Disruptive innovation. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in charge of disruptive innovation. I'm just looking for an innovator. So
what are we doing today?
We are doing today, it's a great question. So we're going to talk about new web platforms, Yahoo Cocktails, and the Mozilla Gecko announcement just recently.
Yes.
Pandora announced that they kind of missed a mark on earnings, so we're going to talk a little bit about Pandora, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nokia and Microsoft. So let's start with, how are we going to make this fun? Yahoo Cocktails,
It's
web
already
platforms, Mozilla talking about, hey, so
I'm really interested to hear what Michael
Yeah,
thinks
I'm
about
dumb
this.
on this one, right?
Yeah.
So what I thought this was Yahoo allowing me to like the cocktails and continue my booze fest through.
yeah, you did not do your homework.
Did not.
You did not do your homework.
Actually, Cynthia does have a really good opinion on the Yahoo one. Do you want to say?
Yeah, so the problem, so Yahoo's still around because there are a lot of people who loved Yahoo from the beginning, and so they have a lot of people who are very loyal following, right? Mm-hmm. About every 6 months to a year, maybe a little bit, maybe 18 months, they come out with a new something that's a really great idea. And inevitably what happens is it's in its infancy stages. They make it open source because they want contribution from the community. And like 3 or 4 other people come up with something even better that they can build on top of it, and then it totally is not Yahoo's anymore. It disappears. That happened with the YUI library. XJS came along and said, "Oh, we can add some stuff on top of this that will widgetize it and be really cool." And before you knew it, XJS was the thing, and nobody even uses YUI anymore.
Yeah, well, Yahoo's kind of going through a phase where they're not sure who they are right now. So
they seem to have been going through that phase for a while.
Well, but we'll see. They have under new leadership. We'll see how they do. My bigger question is that the Yahoo and Mozilla and a lot of other organizations are looking to build. They're basically saying HTML5 is going to be big, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna create something that you can write once and deploy anywhere. Mozilla and Yahoo are saying that we're going to use the platform on the web. The web is the platform.
The web is the platform.
HTML5 is the platform. We've kind of heard this from Palm with the WebOS.
We've also kind of seen Adobe try and do this with Flex Hero. That was a big part of it, and then all of a sudden they decided that they were going to just stop doing that.
Right.
So why did they abandon that? Nobody really knows. Now it's an open source community. Maybe the community will pick it up, maybe they won't. And then that ports to native. So you write one Flex application and you can compile it to an Android app native or an iOS app native. That's even more hitting the target, I think. And that has been somewhat abandoned. That's my opinion. I don't like using the web on my iPhone. I would much rather have a native app for something.
Understand. So I don't agree with that, only because a lot of the apps that are actually written for the iPhone are not written native. They're written in some other platform and ported. Unity 3D.
Understand. I'm not saying native technology. Right? I'm saying like
you want it to have an icon.
I want it on the phone. I don't want to be in Safari.
About cocktails, though. This is like Cocktails is super cool from Yahoo because it provides a real ability to port the same app to multiple phones without having to go through any effort of porting. And when I say app, I completely meant the web, because of the ability to not actually send the page to phones that can't handle it, but to just stream them a video of what the page looks like. They're effectively providing Amazon Silk and a native web experience, depending on what your phone can handle. It's just opening the door for so much. Your app just has such a bigger reach now on the web than it ever would have had before.
I still don't hear how I care, though, from a design standpoint. How do I care?
This is kind of a platform discussion, and one of the things that we're struggling with is, as technologists is, how, when an organization comes to us and says, we want an app right? And there's all kinds of questions that go along with that. But fundamentally, we have to decide how we're going to build it and how we're going to deploy it.
Right.
And that's a really hard. It used to be a lot easier 5 years ago to answer how to answer that question. It was Flash or HTML or desktop. But now we have a proliferation of devices.
All the frameworks around them.
And
here's why you
BlackBerry
as a designer.
Yeah.
Because for the past like 4 or 5 years, you've had this problem as a designer where you've had to wonder, will the device support the experience that I'm creating?
Yes.
And with Yahoo Cocktails, since you didn't do your homework, just so you know, they will ship you, instead of shipping you the page and making your thing handle the page, they'll ship you just a stream of a video of the page. And then they'll handle your interaction back and forth. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now every device can handle your page because even if it can't render it correctly native,
You get a video of it.
you get
I don't know, I like
interactive-
that.
It's great, man. It means that all of a sudden
Can you tell
IE7
it-
can support HTML5.
Can I tell?
Can you tell the difference between
you
the
have to-
video
you have
and
to be able to tell. Like, there's no way you're going to be able to build
Until
an app that
that's
performs
seamless?
well in Yahoo Cocktails.
until
I think
that's
it's pretty
seamless, I'm not seeing the
I bet it's
benefit.
pretty seamless. Have you tried On Live Desktop? It's the same thing, but they ship you an installation of a Windows machine. It works seamless. It's super fast. It's incredible. If you use the Amazon Silk browser or a lot of the Opera browser has been doing this for years.
Is it
right?
going
Opera on
to?
mobile.
Is it going to limit the interactions that I can design for? I mean, it has
opens the
to,
door
right?
it opens it.
Well, I mean, but does it?
It's gonna constrain me
It
somehow.
has to constrain you, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't, as a designer, you can't design for one layout. Like you have orientation, you have pixel sizes, you have all kinds of different things. You have gestures that you're used to on an iPhone that are different than an Android. So.
Right.
You've got a common denominator of low ball that you can hit, and then that.
Right.
So you boil out all the
developing
awesome.
to the lowest common denominator. I believe.
But that lowest common denominator is so much higher than if the phone has to render the page. And now you've got the option to have the phone render the page if it can, and Yahoo will detect whether your phone can or not, and decide whether to ship you.
So the most interesting thing to you with Cocktails is that great, it works on some devices that can't render modern HTML5.
No,
Buy a new phone.
The problem with HTML5 has always been that it's handled inconsistently on different browsers and in different platforms.
Well,
But
some
iOS
people-
and Android both use the same. They both use WebKit. So
they're very different still, though. And that's always been the problem with HTML5. You still have to test in 15 different browsers.
Well, now you've
If I
gotten
can
off
test-
on a totally different topic where if we
Yeah.
start talking about web standards and how does that mean that everybody interprets it differently? It's not standard anymore.
All
but
I'm
whatever.
saying is if you deploy
standard
it
is
through,
supported does not mean standard. So
If you-
things are supported, but nothing's standardized right now on the web.
if you ship it through Yahoo Cocktails and you get really good at that platform, you will have a much better idea of how your page is going to be rendered. It's going to cut down your testing time, and it's going to increase the number of features that you can
Does it
provide.
eliminate entirely the need to test on different platforms to know what it's going to look
no,
like?
but you should have done that with Flash too, right? Because there were little inconsistencies in Flash between platforms.
I'm just asking the question because I don't know what
Yeah,
it
I'm
looks
saying
like.
no, it doesn't completely remove it.
Well, it sounds like a bunch of hooey until I see it. So
Yeah,
I
well,
reserve
they
right to
have
defer
They have
judgment.
reference apps, and so RJ is optimistic about it.
I'm
Obviously,
optimistic. I think it's cool.
Michael's skeptical. Cynthia, you're.
Someone's going to come in and grab it and make it better.
Yeah,
Give it
I-
a
for
year.
that.
I say there's no way anybody's going to pull off what Yahoo and Mozilla are trying to pull off. It's too big a chunk. There's
I
too
think
many.
the Mozilla thing's different. Booting to Gecko is really weird. You're never going to convince iPhone people to boot into a Gecko browser instead of using the iPhone native
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, I think both of them are
Stand
trying to
alone.
accomplish the same thing for developers, or developer-centric ways of deploying applications.
But the
They-
developer
they-
population's so small.
Yeah, and I think it's not. You're not going to reach user. You're not going to reach user and consumer demand on the devices. Also, I think they're probably going to have a much further. They might be also good for like simple one-off apps.
Yeah.
But talk about an app that integrates into a financial backend system, or the integration piece of what you have to do with enterprise software. That most apps now have to be connected to some kind of service. I think they have too many obstacles to go, and we're not going to see any benefits
I don't
from
think
way too long.
Cocktails is going to have problems with that.
All right, so
All right.
we differ.
We differ. We disagree. I'm all for it.
Yeah. As usual, I'm right, but that's okay.
Who am I supposed
Um,
to cheat off of now, since I
next-
didn't do my
next,
homework?
I'm always right.
Next,
All
we're
right.
going to talk about Pandora. Pandora recently announced that they missed their earnings.
Yeah.
They can make money?
Yes, they did.
They made their revenue was $33 million last year, which
pretty good.
which seemed okay, but not.
Right,
I
well-
was surprised at how low it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I hear an ad every 4 songs.
Yeah, but yes, you
listened to
do hear an
Pandora
ad
in
every
5
4
years.
songs, but did you know, what are you doing when you're listening to that music? Are you watching your phone for all the ads that scroll by in that same 4 minutes and
Oh
songs?
no, I don't use my eyes when I listen to radio.
Exactly why
You have
they
a
only
face for
made
radio.
33. Yeah. This is the big problem with their marketing strategy. Nobody looks at their phone while they're listening to music.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you, I mean, it's annoying when you feel like you're listening to an ad every however often. I mean, my radio station even gives me like almost 40 minutes with no ads. So I don't know how they're supposed to make money, but it's not on the visual space, and that's where like 70%. I totally pulled that number out of my butt, but
I saw it come out. There's something else in
the
there.
majority of their ads are targeted at visual ads in the player. So this is a problem.
So you use Pandora. Are you annoyed with the ads? Do you? Does it?
I mostly don't notice them.
You mostly don't notice them?
Nah.
I don't listen to radio. I mean, when I do, I think we were talking about whether Spotify,
Yeah.
is taking the thunder away from Pandora, and I'm pretty sure that I see more people using Spotify than I do
Yeah.
than Pandora.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in
excited
like
about
some
Pandora
crappy
when it first
coffee
came
shop.
out, but-
Unless you're in some crappy coffee shop.
Yeah, Pandora is like the default radio station for crappy coffee shops.
got it.
Like pick the Annie DeFranco like station and like,
Watch it. Watch it.
She's got
right.
a violent and empowered following.
Yes, you may be.
I know. I just outed myself with a whole bunch of people. That's
By
okay.
the way, our Twitter handle.
It's okay.
We just got our Twitter handle. It's talking offline. It's at talking offline for Twitter for your Twitter followers.
In my defense,
Followers.
I have most of the Annie DeFranco albums, and I hate them all.
I need more.
Why did you keep buying them?
Flowers. Just maybe you get better.
All right. So, any other? This is
Here's
kind of a-
here's the problem with any of these. Okay, I am a musician. I'm a singer. I write songs. I
did you-
barely
Prove it.
play the piano.
Prove it. Yeah.
Prove it. Let's go.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
We're bringing the karaoke machine.
Oh God,
Right.
karaoke. The problem is, I cannot listen to music and do my job at the same time. Now, mostly the only time I'm on a computer where I would be listening to music is when I'm developing software.
Is that
when I'm
because
doing my
of the
job.
music, the lyrics
Yes,
like
it's because I'm
interfere with the
thinking-
cognitive
Yeah, I'm
capabilities
thinking,
of
oh my gosh, look, they just went A, B, C back to A. How did they do that? How did they make that work? And oh, that was an
You're
interesting
too
chord
smart. I
progression.
get it.
And so, unless you can do your job and listen to music, which I'm not one of those people, so maybe everybody else is, I don't know.
Well, it's-
I
you-
want to be able to
you
get
can do it on
all of
your
this
iPhone.
stuff in my car, though. I
They
want it in
do,
my
they have
car.
that.
That's when I listen.
It shows
How?
up. There's
Yeah.
like I think don't they have a Pandora?
I don't drive
you
American
Pandora,
cars.
You can get your
Oh,
iPhone.
no Apple Gear, no American cars.
Hey, I have
a
an
lot about
iPhone. I
it.
Now
didn't
we
say
know
no
what
Apple
culture
Gear.
in.
I'm not a freaking
Can't
Apple
listen to music
fanboy.
and program at the same time.
But no, but if you have a smartphone, you can get Pandora on your smartphone. You can play your smartphone through your car. Maybe there's
But
this
the
thing called
Bluetooth
technology.
stinks.
I don't know. I don't know if
plug it in.
you can actually do stuff.
I don't have a
There's
plug
a-
on.
You don't have a plug on your
No,
phone?
I
There are
don't.
ways to
Not on
solve
my
these
car.
You
problems.
are supposed
Not
to
on my
be the
car.
nerd of the group. What the hell is
No,
going
I
on?
can write the latest and greatest software. I am the last adopter of hardware.
So doctors
I
make
am.
the worst patients.
Yeah.
Proof,
Yes.
proof pudding right there.
I
Yes.
think you can write last year's software really well.
Thanks, RJ. We're not we're not allowed to talk about clients right now, so we'll just
do you use
let that
Pandora?
go.
I do not anymore.
You did.
I did.
Why'd you stop?
I just like the music discovery aspect of Pandora was the real value proposition, right? Put in artists you like, will help you find others. And I just wasn't getting that much value out of that. I was hearing a lot of things I just wasn't that interested in. So I went back to just listening to music in iTunes.
To your own iTunes music library. I use Pandora when I work out, but I actually listen to like comedy. So it
See, I love it for that.
Yeah.
I have found so many new
there's almost
comedians
no
that I
ads.
love
There's
for
almost
that.
no ads on the comedy, like
Yeah,
Rich Henberg.
it's
and,
so
like,
rare.
Like I love the comedy channel, and
Yep.
that's all I listen to. The Legends, and it gets me through my workout. So I
Yeah.
do use it, and there's really no ads on the comedy side. So
Yep.
um,
That's how I found the
so
Charmageddon guy.
if you're
How
the owner of
Sparks.
Pandora, what do you do?
Oh, well, that's a really
Like-
hard one. I
The
guess you
CEO of Pandora.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
probably turn it up.
Turn it up. That's good answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't do your homework again. All right. Cynthia.
Owner of Pandora.
We're going to establish a pattern here, and
Okay.
eventually we won't have to say it anymore.
I'm going back to the drawing board with the smartest people I can find and trying to figure out how I monetize without having to rely on people looking at the app. because when it comes to music, they're just not going to do that.
Well, they're taking the old. I mean, the most effective advertising. You know what it is? Radio. The most effective advertising is radio. So
then they need to put more into targeting that advertising and making it like relevant, because
How hard to target? You like Megadeth, so you must like. How do you do it, right?
Sins.
Like black shirts, yay!
Sorry.
Are condoms cable?
I was.
I think so.
So I have to read the views expressed on the show do not reflect those of our employer, each other, the great state of Colorado, or most other people with good jobs.
Bet we can make him say it 3 times today.
So there's a goal to make me say that 3 times now. So I was surprised at how low Pandora's earnings were. $33 million after how long they've been, and how popular they are.
Well, is the RIAA taking that money? Like, where's they're paying for the right to play,
and that they missed with 33. So and
how much money did they put? Didn't they originate the Music Genome Project?
I don't know.
It was a part of it. They had a piece to do with it, I think.
And how much
if it didn't
they
spin
invest
off
in
of
that?
If I'm the CEO, I'm partnering with Spotify because they've figured out a way to get people to spend money, and we have valuable content. If I'm Pandora,
you see a merger coming.
I see a merger.
That's
That's
interesting.
what I would do.
Yeah,
So it's the Cirrus satellite.
I have no idea. I have no opinion. So we're gonna move on to our favorite top part of the show.
Oh yeah.
Caption contest.
Look at that.
So this is RJ working out with his power glove. Make sure you get the power glove in there. All right, so RJ, as is customary, you get to go first with your...
My caption's probably just more power.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
You got a pun in there.
Yeah.
That was excellent. That was good.
Thank you.
You're good.
A dude walking around wearing a power glove does not get to make fun of my development skills.
Oh snap!
Oh, that's good.
How
All right,
old's
Michael.
that thing?
I still think. I think it's an RJ 1.0. I mean, because I saw the beta version of it. And it was pretty good.
Had hair, man.
Did he? I thought we removed it for like efficiency. I thought it was more about.
Yeah, that's why it's 2.0.
He's faster now that he doesn't
He's
have hair.
no.
All right, I'll try mine.
Oh,
with
no,
homage to
no.
Triumph the dog and say, which one of these buttons do you use to call your mom to come pick you up? All right.
Burn on you.
All right, last but not least, we're going to talk about
I know.
Nokia and Windows 8.
Oh.
Yes.
ELOP has decided to adopt Windows 8 as the operating system to take Nokia into beating Android and iOS.
Hold on, Windows does phones?
Windows Mobile.
What
kind of phone do you have?
Yeah. She has a jitterbug.
Boost Mobile. That's so nice.
One of those ones with the buttons that plugs into the wall.
I have to say,
Ones that make calls?
Yeah.
Who uses their phone for calls?
I love the Metro UI. I loved Windows Phone 7. I think it looks great. The worst thing about Windows Phone 7 is the handsets it's on, because they're light, they're made out of plastic, they feel cheap next to an iPhone. But I love the UI. It's the first UI that significantly departs from the skeuomorph sort of feel that Apple is completely obsessed with. So I love it. I think it's very clean. I think it's really interesting. And the real question is how well Windows 8 is going to do on a desktop. And if they can get AT&T to sell these phones, they can get like the retail stores to sell them, because that was the problem with Windows 7. So if they overcome those two things, the interface is great. I think people will love it if they ever try it.
Yeah. Would you replace your iPhone with a Windows 8 phone?
I might.
What would
I
get
really
you to
might.
change?
If I could get a phone that felt like a real phone, that didn't feel like a toy I would give my kids, then I might.
So the bigger question is, why Nokia, right? So you're talking about.
It's because they're the losers right now.
Oh, so it's the underdog.
It's the underdog.
You vote for the underdog.
Yeah, I mean they were a Symbian for a while, right?
That's a great reason to plop down $500.
Hey, I don't know that I'd drop $500 on a Nokia. Although, however, they are, they're still bricks. I mean,
Nokia has been losing market share rapidly, but they still have tons of it. And especially when you look internationally, like you go to another continent, and the majority of the phones will be Nokia phones.
Why is that?
Because that's where they got there first. They have tons of reach. They're all over the place.
Yeah, but
yep.
So what? Do they make? Is this going to be a better like?
Well,
is this going to be a better product?
Is
Like,
it hardware or is it the interface?
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I think the interface is amazing. I agree with RJ. I think it's pretty inventive. It changes the skew morph thing. There's this lack of that home screen that you constantly bounce to. It kind of, you can expand and it's modular. You can put the stuff you want in there.
Is it intuitive?
Intuitive is weird, right? Because nothing's intuitive unless you've had exposure to
You
it.
can't pull out intuitive to
intuitive
designer.
until
He's gonna go off on affordance and contrast and
all of
tension. Like, don't go there with him.
What I can say is
he'll just bore us to death with
it's a
design.
super interesting interface, and I bet that we start to see more of it on all of the devices.
Is it usable? You're a user. You're a usability guy. So is it usable?
Guy. It is usable.
It is usable.
Yeah.
It is. Well, you also have to think, it probably could not have been usable 4 years ago because nobody was ready for glass to be touched on. But now we're at a point where you see glass and you start tapping it, and if it doesn't interact that way, you get upset with it.
Do you need the legal paperwork for?
You should just read it.
I'm
sure people can read my mind.
Dirty glass to be touched on?
Anyway, we're gonna move on. So again, will Windows save Nokia? Will Windows 8 save Nokia? I agree with you.
I think they
Windows
make
8
them relevant. I don't know that they'll save them.
I don't know either, but I know that.
So who do you know that
What are we
competes with
talking-
Apple? Who competes with Apple?
Android.
But Android's not a device manufacturer. Android's an OS.
You're right.
So that's my point. You made my point for me. The people that compete with Apple are operating system folks, not handset folks anymore. Ironically, because Apple is it's fundamentally a hardware company that happens to do OS. And that's oversimplifying it, but
What are we saying that is happening in Nokia that they need to be saved? I mean, according to RJ, everywhere except the United States. I mean, I know we're important,
market
but we're
share.
not
Look
as
at the
important
market
as
share.
we think.
The smartphone market share for Apple and Android. I don't have the stats on me, but they're killing Nokia on the smartphone side.
The thing that Nokia could do when they're partnered with Windows here is bringing smartphones to the other 99%. The people who don't have smartphones.
So they're going to build.
Are we going to occupy your
But
smartphone?
what you're saying is that the thing that would make you buy a Nokia, a Windows phone,
Not
is
make
it's
me
more,
buy. The thing that internationally sells them into all the people who Apple doesn't have reach into.
Right, but Android commoditizes that market.
Wait, but they
Commoditizes the hardware market.
So they had Symbian, right, before?
Yeah.
And they abandoned it, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You're going to be a OMI 2 on Android, or are you going to...
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter. At this point for Nokia, it doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah, I think it
I think they
absolutely
do.
does.
I think they have to become relevant again, and by ditching a antiquated OS, I'm hung up on the OS hardware piece because I think people are going to buy the phone and buy the service, and I think that Apple's the same thing. You're buying the experience on the OS.
Yeah.
The device that it's on is just the piece that got me there,
Right.
and that's your bread and butter. But I don't. I mean, it's.
So what you're saying is the
Just
best
the
thing
thing.
Nokia could do would be to stick iOS on there and make it an iPhone-like experience.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, you try to do that anywhere, and I think
this is
iOS
about-
experience becomes the gold standard for that experience, and so now you have the people trying to get a similar type of thing, and so instead of being us too, now we're on the Android platform. How do you differentiate? And that's how you go Windows.
So you're saying Windows 8 was Nokia's only chance?
I think so. I
Yeah.
don't think,
I think
there was
Windows
another option.
and I think Microsoft and Nokia are the only people who can possibly challenge Apple in this domain and win. Google, Motorola can maybe do it now that Google owns a hardware company too. But the problem with Android has always been that you
Fragmentation.
don't make fragmentation and you don't make
yeah.
any money off the apps.
Yep.
Google takes all the money.
Yep.
So Apple will always beat you at that because they make both. With these guys working together, now they've got a shot. They've got a killer UI that can rival what Apple puts out there. And it's a question on if they can just sell enough phones.
I agree. So buying a Windows 8 phone or keeping your iPhone?
Keep my iPhone.
You
Keeping
know,
my
what kind
iPhone.
of phone do you have?
I have an iPhone 4S, okay?
Oh,
Wow.
Apple.
That's
Lord.
Shocked.
4S.
I have said that like 16 times.
Okay.
4S.
Well, we're
You
not
guys
paying-
don't listen.
We don't listen. Haven't you been
Men,
paying attention?
women, that's just
So,
I would buy one.
she left me for some reason. It was something about not paying attention to her. I don't know.
I couldn't hear. All I heard was
so
meow,
the-
meow, meow.
Would you replace your iPhone with a Nokia phone?
Absolutely not.
No.
Nope.
RJ?
Mike.
You might. I wouldn't, only because I am I have my entire life
He's
revolves
an
around
Apple
Apple. Not that
fanboy.
I'm not the fanboy, but
You're
all
a
my
fanboy.
content is in Apple format, and switching is painful. They got me, and so it's going to be very difficult to switch.
So now you're a fanboy.
All right, so that wraps. I'm not a fanboy.
He's captive.
I am captive.
I'm gonna bring you a shirt.
I do have my Steve Jobs idol, my Steve Jobs icon.
Shrine.
Thank you.
Icon. Yeah.
My shrine.
All right.
So that wraps up our second episode of Offline. Again, follow us on Talking Offline on Twitter, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
I'm going down the way.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Nice talking.
This is a nice cut.